What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the stream. Um, I was just streaming on Instagram, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I did not like it. I don't like that you can see everyone joining and leaving, joining and leaving. On YouTube, you can kind of see your chat numbers, but I don't really look at that. But on Instagram, it's like in your face. So you could see when people come and then they leave right away, and it's very, very, what do you call, disheartening. You're like, damn, bro, people came, saw me, and then left. So I did not like that. I think next time I'm gonna like block that out for myself, so I don't get in my own head. Um, Overall, though, people were interested. I did get people with some questions. We did cover some stuff, but the quality is really bad too. I did not like that. I couldn't readjust the quality. I'd have to keep testing settings to see what is going on. But that's for another day. I feel like Instagram is good for memes, good for laughing, but you're not really learning on the platform. You might be trying to contact someone for something, but I don't know. I think it's good for getting advice, and I thought that's what the live stream would be good for, is to give people advice. But the people who need advice may not follow me already, or they might have gotten their advice already. I don't know. I really got to think through the strategy there, but I really would like for that to work out. I guess maybe special events I could do on there, like special streaming events where I'm doing something cool. Because again, I feel like Instagram is all about showboating and showing crazy stuff that you're doing. So that's what people were kind of expecting, and that's not what this is at all. Like, this is literally like, hey, come chill and watch me work. But anyways, I just did a complete kit for a 2008 Acura TL. Now we got some amps to do and some Honda Civic stuff. So I really haven't shown this stuff before. So if you have a Honda Civic, we have a Honda dedicated website. I'm going to show it to you. I've never really covered this. I've never even told people I launched this or anything. When I like to do stuff, I like to do stuff low key, also like as a test to see. Because then if it fails, I don't have to tell you. But if it does good, then I can tell you. But yeah, I'll show it to you in a second. Let me just figure this, get this shipped. All right, cool. So this is not Brandon. This was, oh fuck, what was it? Sorry. Oh, did this guy even answer? Yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, shit. I need to start doing that, bro. Well, it's hard to read this, though. Hey, no worries, man. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that a lot. You know how big that is, especially coming from the ass kicking I just got over at Instagram. So I highly, highly appreciate that. Hold on. Brandon's these two. We gotta do Josue first. What did Josue get? Josue got, this guy got a weird last name. This is the MDX thing. Yes, sir. Okay. All right, I have to get some stuff. I'll be right back. Yeah, it's been raining all night, so just let the dogs out. So I feel you, man. I understand how it be sometimes. Android. Sorry, I didn't realize I still had this order. Otherwise, I would have just changed the title. But don't worry, whoever's watching this later on, I'm gonna do the Honda Civic stuff. You're walking yourself up the ladder, man. consumerism, or whatever the hell it's called. I mean, the buttons on the bottom are really the big thing for me. Yeah, it has an HDMI port, but like, what are you gonna feed via HDMI? Just the buttons on the bottom is nice to have, but like, think about it. Like, are you really gonna reach down there, or are you gonna use your steering wheel controls? So it's kind of like a thing. It does better in the dash kit, though. I will tell you that. In the dash kit, the bottom row buttons will look a lot better than the DMX will. But oh, I forgot. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I forgot something. I don't have a radio to show you, otherwise I'd show you on a radio. But I have an open dash. I swear I had an open one. No, I don't have one anymore. Damn. I do, but it's like in storage. So get back. Yeah, so on the Accurate Tail dash kit, that bottom row piece, let me pull up my screen here. So 2005 Accurate Tail dash kit. So here, usually this is not a good enough picture, but you see this bottom little row ridge thing here? When you do a certain radio, hold on, there's some pictures here. Okay, so you see on this Pioneer, you can kind of tell there's like a little ridge there. Hold on, I'm going to take you to our actual website, because it'll have more pictures. Okay, so this radio has a little bit of a lip. This radio also has a little bit of a lip. But when you do one, I think this is going to be the best picture. Okay, you see that? How the radio sits further back? When you do a radio that has the bottom buttons, you won't see that. And I think we do have a picture, but I don't remember. One sec. Nope. We're going to have to go to, does Crutchfield have reviews with pictures? They do. But this guy has the same thing. You see like that little ridge? When you have, hold on, I think the 0708 kit has a different picture. Okay, look. So when you have, hold on, I'm going to need to open this radio in a new tab so I can zoom in here as much as I want. So when you look here, when the buttons are on the bottom, they come flush with the kit, and it actually looks really nice compared to when they're not flush. So I'll show you a different picture. This Sony sticks out very far. Sony would be a good option too if you really care about look, but the DMX will look just fine. But that's what I'm talking about, like how far it sits in the kit. The new Pioneers look terrible in there. But yeah, that's what I want to show you. So I think if you got the budget, 9708, not a bad choice. But like in terms of functionality, it's going to be very, very minimal difference, I feel like. But okay, let me go back to me and the desk, and then I'm working on a harness for a MDX. So I'll show you what it is on our website. Sorry, I'm gonna have to flip back to our website. So we go to our site, we'll go hit shop, and then from here, I think it's on the front page still, honestly. Take me to the home page, sir. Yep, right here. This harness set is what we're making right now. So this is to allow you to install the 9-inch screen on a car that has the HDD thing. That's what we're going to make right now. The correct 28-pin connector with the correct harness, the RCA for the video, everything. We'll make this harness. Then we have to make another harness, and that will have the entire combo all together. So let's get to work. I will get to the Honda Civic amps in a second. Un segundo. Oh, chill. Can't talk Spanish anymore, supposedly. All right. Come on. All right, so first things first, we're just going to terminate these little connections right here. Oh, you know what it is? It's probably this dark spot that it doesn't like. That's all solder and dirt and garbage. Can I scrape it? Nah, bro, I ain't even scraping it. Oh, no, scraping is working. Okay. What if I burn the shit out of it? Will this darken it, or will this burn the stuff? No, it's darkening. Yeah. Well, is it easier to scrape if I darken it? Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get you a better visual of stuff. And it looks like this dark spot is what's making the visual worse because it's trying to focus in on this darkness. Yeah, I don't think burning it helped. So that's the reason why it just doesn't look good on camera. I probably shouldn't be breathing this stuff in, right? Yeah, I'm not going to blow it and fuck myself up. So I think what I could do to make a better is put I have a darker plate. That's not going to help. All right, I'm going to clean that up for the next stream. In the meantime, though, I will push some of it out of the way. Not onto my keyboard, though. Just into here. But we'll get that fixed. All right, so let's crimp this. Let's add this real quick. And then we'll crimp this. Thank you for the heads up. You know, I actually have a thing to solder on. We'll see if that makes it any better. Hold on. I bought this whole thing. I ended up not using it because I didn't like it. Is that a better background for me to... I guess, yeah. Duh. But yeah, it has this, and then I'll show you the other part. One sec. It had like multiple arms. And this. So then I could take this and that and like be like, but to move every single wire each time is so ridiculous. So I never ended up using this thing. But in premise, it looked pretty cool. Like when I saw it, I'm like, oh, I should get that. And then like it comes with multiple arms, so you can solder multiple wires. But I just never bothered to set it up because then you got to set it up every time. I just need to solder, man. But you do have a point. I might just solder on this always, and we'll see how that goes. Come on. There we go. All right, so that's terminated. Now we move on to our power connector here. So this is a voltage step-down converter. It's going to take 12 volts and turn it into 8 volts. So input goes into this red and black, and then the output goes white and black. Blacks are both grounds. Red are my power wires. And on this side, red is going to get tapped to this, but white and black are going to get terminated. All right, cool. Where are my little terminals? I wonder how well solder would stick to this or won't. About those Gundam cutting boards. Okay. Thank you for the tip. I'll look into it. Yeah, I was thinking maybe like a prep table, like a metal prep table, like a cover, a metal cover. But I mean, the last thing I want is for stuff to be shifting around when I'm working. This is like pretty good. It's staying in its place. I wonder if this is like a screw down hole or what. Right, so when I'm crimping right now are all the wires that are going to go into this housing right here. So this housing has to match this one. We're going to get the same pin out. We just need to prep all the wires. What's going on here? Oh, okay. I got a bunch of emails I got to answer. Tomorrow morning, all I got to do is just emails. Customer service and emails, because there's so many emails. People will send me like a whole life story in the email. It's crazy. Well, it's not crazy. It's like they need help, but it's like I don't need the whole story of how you bought your car and where you bought I don't need the whole story about how you rescued your car and where you bought it. Like I don't mind listening, but sometimes like you make the whole email about, oh, this car was such a piece of shit. I got it from my uncle who got it from my brother. They passed away, so now I have it. And he used to listen to music really loud, but nothing works now, and we don't know what to do. And it's like, there's no actionable item for me to help you in that. Like you gave me a whole story that means nothing from in the way to help you. And then I just read like it'd be like 3 or 4 paragraphs long, and then at the end it's like, thank you for replying. And it's like I won't reply right away. I'll read your entire email and I go, okay, is there any actual thing I can send right now that would help? And it's like, no, I all I have is a bunch of questions. So I'm gonna wait till I answer this one till I can write down all those questions. So right now I'm taking the speaker wires out. Sorry, I always do that. I keep taking stuff. Oh, hold on, my chair's too low. That's why. I knew something was off, bro. There we go. I'm short, so I can barely touch the floor. So I know that if I can touch the floor, something's up with the chair. And then when it puts me up higher, this feels more natural than when I'm lower. So I took all the speaker wires out. These are these wires right here. This does not do any audio. The audio gets sent a different way. This only does power and camera trigger and backup camera. So the wires we're going to end up using are black, red, and pink. And then we're going to use yellow, orange, and that's it. Then we're going to be left with 3 wires that are not hooked up: brown, black, blue, and gray, and orange, black. So let's get to stripping and terminating. So we're going to need this. I have a speaker. Passenger door just started vibrating with normal volume. Is this just age? Have a speaker. Passenger door started vibrating with normal volume. When you mean vibrating, do you mean like it's making a noise? Or like you pulled off the door panel and you can see it, by like, because all speakers vibrate to make noise. So that's why like terminology is important. So I want to like, is it making like a noise when it's playing music, or what is going on? Handy DVR. Oh, okay, for handy. All right, man. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow for the lunch stream. A little too quiet, guys. Then I need to put a little Dragon Ball. Or maybe some music. Some old school Nickelback. Or maybe some Linkin Park. 3 Days Grace. Ooh, 3 Days Grace. Let's go. That's what we'll play. Distorted. Okay, that's another thing. Not trying to pick on you or be mean in any way, but that's another thing that people will say. It's like, oh, it sounds. I hear distortion, but distortion has a very particular sound to it. Um, how could I explain it to you? Like, at a low volume, the chance that your speaker is distorting is very low. I don't know if that's technically true though. I just feel like basically at low volume, you wouldn't hear distortion first. You would hear actual physical damage to your speaker first. So I'm going to see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Let me just... Damn, that's not a good crimp. So these are super important to crimp correctly. That's not a good crimp right there at all. So watch. Came right off. So that's just me not crimping correctly. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to wrap it around the wire here, and then we'll load it into the gun after I have it wrapped to make sure that we get the proper crimp that we... it's not going to hold. Okay, one sec, guys. Sometimes these like to be a pain in the ass. So we have to kind of just get them together ourselves and like use a little bit of trickery. So stupid. Come on. There we go. There we go. Now that was a good crimp. All right, so now what does distortion look like on an oscilloscope? Is there a good graph? Yeah, right here. Okay. So this is distortion, but you're really never going to hear it. So what I mean by you're never going to hear it is open image, a new tab. So this is what distortion will look like. I need to zoom the hell in because you cannot see that. Okay. So this is a traditional wave. You see the tops and the bottoms are very round. They have nice smooth edges. When you start to introduce distortion, you get this kind of cut. Then when it gets crazy, it can look like this, or it can look like this, where like the distortion is just cutting the signal. But distortion like the one shown here, it's going to be very rare that you're going to hear it. So like this distortion may be happening at a low volume, but it won't happen till you get to max volume. Like it's more common at max volume. What you could be hearing, damaged car, that could be throwing off the sound is an actual speaker that has damage to the cone or just a little bit of damage somewhere around the surround. And it'll sound distorted because certain sounds won't sound correctly. Bro, who did this? But it's not actually distorting, it's just damaged. So if your speaker is actually distorting, there's something else more serious going on. But if it just sounds bad, it's because it probably has some sort of physical damage. It could have gotten physically damaged where the voice coil is causing distortion, but it's just that's very, very unlikely. It's almost always just physical damage from overtime, especially on your older Acuras. But all right, let me get back to the desk. And then let me switch myself out because you need to see what I'm looking at. So your best bet is to just, yeah, they just fall apart over time. It's not like someone like attacked the speaker. It's just from playing, they just damage themselves. They have too much excursion one way or the other. Yeah, no worry. First thing is just pull the door panel and examine the speaker, then bench test it. And if the speaker on the bench is making distortion, then it was just a speaker all along. But if it's not making distortion, just pull the speaker and you'll be able to see. Sorry, I'm like rambling for no reason. Simple enough. But they do damage themselves just from playing, especially especially your front door speakers. Okay, back to the harness. So we pinned all the correct connections, and then we need to wire tap red and black. So we're just gonna strip. Then we're gonna take the red and black from right here. They have soldered tips, so we cut those off, tear them apart, and then come on, strip and strip. And then we're gonna wrap these around here. Red to red, black to black, simple enough. If you don't use a voltage converter on the factory camera, eventually it's gonna die. It can't handle 12 volts. It wants 8 volts. I don't know why it's designed that way. It just is. So now we're going to solder these two. So we'll get our test here to see how this does with some solder hitting it. And if we could find our soldering or our solder, whatever you want to call it, we can see if it sticks to this or not. It'd be funny if it does stick. That'd be so stupid. All right, so we got there some on there. All right, cool. Then we need to get some on here. All right, nice. Oh, it doesn't stick. Nice, that's good. All right, cool. Yeah, it'd be dumb if it did, honestly, but you really never know, especially with Amazon things. Because this came off of Amazon. All right, so we're gonna cut some heat shrink. Add the heat shrink to our little harness. And then we're gonna apply some heat, baby, with this little lighter because it won't burn anything. Okay. All right, so now we can start pinning our harness. We're gonna stop with pin 1. Pin 1 is this top right corner. That's gonna be constant power, which is yellow. Then we got a nice lock. We're just going to make sure that all the parts of this wire went in. This wire is thicker than all the other ones, so sometimes it gets peeled. It'll kill the crimp. Really got to watch it. Make sure it's sat correctly. Everything's good. That was pin 1. Pin 2 is accessory, so that's going to be our red wire. This will slide in no problem. You should hear that little click. Okay. Pin 3, there's nothing. Then we're going to come across. There's a couple other pins, but I want to take care of black first. The black pin is number 15. That's ground. That's on this bottom row here. So that's just going to slide in. Okay. Next to that is illumination. So that's going to be our orange. Orange is just going to slide in next to it. Did that go in all the way? Yes, it did. We'll double check with this. Okay. Then we're going to move on to our camera. So our camera feed is done via this RCA. That's on this far right side. So that's the video signal. This is video signal ground. It's on the far edge, so it's pin 14 and pin 13 because it's a 28 pin connector. So now we're just going to push those in there. Come on. Where's my... here we go. All right, so we're pushing this one in there, and we're pushing that one in there. All right, cool. So now we got to take care of our reverse trigger and our camera power. So our reverse trigger is going to be pin, that's this pink wire. That's pin what? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Pin 22, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 away, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. right? It's a gap of 6 or a gap of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, guys. I know it's dumb to count and double check, but I just, for my own sanity, need to make sure I did it right, even though I don't think I've done 100 of these yet. We're pretty close. So that's 2 away from the edge, right? And then right under the black, 2 away from the edge, right under the black. And then that's up in 1, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's on the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one. All right. So pin 1 is constant power. Pin 2 is accessory. Pin 3 is nothing. Pin 4 is nothing. Pin 5 is nothing. Pin 6 is nothing for us. Pin 7 is the backup camera power ground. And then pin 12 and 13 are the video signal. Then pin 28, 27, 20, 28, 27, 26 is the camera power. And then 26, 25, 24, 23, 22 is the reverse trigger. Hold on, this went into the wrong place. All right, so now we have copied our master. We just need to add some tape and zip ties to make it look correct. So this is for the MDX 2010 to 2013, so that you can use the 9-inch Android screen with it, because the one they sell doesn't work with it correctly. The harnesses are all wrong. So we sell you 2 harnesses that help you fix all the issues. Okay. So now it's just a matter of zip tying everything so that it's nice and clean and looks good. We have no issues. Hold on, put the zip tie. Okay. Come on, zip tie. Come on, buddy. Damn, I just drank it more, didn't I? All right, let me just cut it and restart. All right. So this, like I said before, will get your camera to show up. You will have to change the video format. That's super common. We have a video on that, but you're going to have to change the video format. So the camera will come up. You change the video format. It'll show correctly, because if you don't change the video format, it's going to show the same camera feed like 4 times, all fuzzy and stuff. So you change the video format, you're all set. This will plug into the camera RCA. Let me show you camera RCA. This plugs into the back of stereo. This plugs into the factory connections. These 3 wires are not used for anything. And that's this harness done. Now we need to do the XM harness, which is right here. We're running low though. We should have more soon. So that's this guy right here. We're going to turn it into this guy. And to do that, we're going to need some terminals I don't have. So one sec. That's the floor down. Bruh. What the hell's going on? Come on. Cut some. All these cutters losing its edge. Get 2 RCA, 1 white, 1 red. Yep, okay. Oh, and then I need that cable. Sorry guys, just getting stuff together. Alright, cool. So now we're going to unpin some wires on this and then terminate these wires right here and add them to the wires we remove. Okay, cool. So what this harness does is it intercepts the XM connection for the factory stereo, and instead of letting the XM tuner send audio to the factory radio, you send audio from the screen, the new Android screen, to the factory radio via this input. The reason why we choose this over aux is just because XM has a better tune from the factory than aux. So something you may or may not have noticed in your car is that when you listen to music, if you listen to a CD, it sounds better than Bluetooth. If you listen to the radio, it sounds better than Bluetooth sometimes. But if you listen to USB, USB usually sounds the best compared to all of the other ones. So XM is kind of right above Bluetooth. It's better than aux, better than Bluetooth, but not as good as USB. So this is the best way to send audio to the factory radio, as long as you're okay with losing XM. You can, I can terminate both of these with RCAs, and you can then feed your XM signal through the Android screen and just put the Android screen in aux and do it. So that is a possibility to keep XM, but most people don't use XM, so they don't mind just doing this, because the other setup's a little bit more complicated. This is a lot more straightforward, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Let me just terminate these wires. But this basically, this first harness gets everything to power on and gets everything to show your back. Like, everything powers on, the screen's working, your back camera's working. The next harness is for audio, to get you the best audio source. In our original video, we said to just repin the other harness they sent you, and we show you how to repin it. But we found that you get very poor audio performance with that. So that's why we decided to introduce this second harness. So now I'm going to pin that up, and I'm just going to add terminals to them. Yeah, man, you're one of the outliers. $5.99 a month. That sounds pretty cheap. What are you, grandfathered in? Ask anyone under 25 if they have SiriusXM. No. Maybe their dad or their mom has a subscription that they can listen to, but they're not. Well, I guess no 25-year-old is. Maybe anyone under 30. Okay. So now we did that. We can close this up. I hate that sometimes this doesn't want to close good. So annoying. All right, and then we can add our pins here. On the far left side, we have our positive. We have our left. So the far right side, we have our left, and then the negatives go on the bottom. The positives go on the top. And then same thing right here. Okay. All right. So those have been added. Did they sit correctly? I believe so. Yes, they did. All right, cool. So now just a couple of zip ties to this to clean it up. Make it look a lot better. Okay, I need to do something for 12. Let's 12-month contract. I tell them cancel. They immediately renew offer. Yeah, XM is known for that. They'll like basically give away the house for free if you try to cancel, because they know getting new subscribers is super hard. So they'd rather keep their old subscribers, which makes sense. But all right, so now got that. The last piece is this RCA connector right here. Got you. Yeah, I'm trying to think there's a better option. Yeah, there is no better option. That's going to be it. That's a factory XM integration. Okay, so the last piece to all this is this little RCA loop. It's just basically so you don't have to go buy some, because a lot of times you just need this short little cable and you'll buy like a 20 footer, or you'll end up having to buy from multiple places and you're not sure which one to get or which link to click on. So we just basically, these come from Amazon. You could get this on Amazon yourself. They're the monoprice cables. They're good RCA cables. They're the right length that we need for the install, because the screen and the radio are a little bit apart, but not that far apart. So this makes the installation real easy and simple. It's just a pair of RCAs. There's nothing fancy about it. I just like to zip tie them together, and then I like to plug them in so you understand how they go. These are going to go right here. This is going to plug in to the factory radio. What used to plug into that plug will plug into here. You'll run these RCAs up to behind the new navigation screen, and the new navigation screen will have audio out. You know what? One sec, because I don't have a full video on this. So let me grab this. Okay. So here is an Android screen. This isn't the MDX one, but this is an Android screen. So this main black connector plugs into here. That's going to leave you with this RCA. You're going to be like, where does this go? Right here on the edge. I don't have one of these. I wish I did. On the edge, this connector right here is going to have a single RCA. That's where this one's going to plug into, this connector here. Then your harness, I do have, your radio is going to come with this harness with a bunch of RCAs. There's ones you're looking for very specific that say audio out. Audio out R, audio out, and then audio out L, audio out L. These are the two that you need, audio out. If you do aux in, you'll have no sound. So then that's where these plug into. Red to red, white to white. This harness then connects here, and that's what gives audio to the factory system with this interception harness. And that's how it all works together, how you would hook it up. So now that we have everything set up, we can box this up and ship it to our customer. I'll just go put the screen away. Oh, I can put this away too. I can put this away too. Some of these tools. All right, now let's get a 555 going, and let's get a baggie going. What's up, YouTube? I see there's some of you in here. If you have a question, want to say what's up, feel free. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I promise I won't eat on stream like yesterday, but I was hungry. That quesadilla was good. I am hungry right now. I did not have dinner, but I will eat after I get off stream. I'll just box this up. This is going 2-day air to California, baby. So he should have it. It's going on Wednesday. He should have it by Friday, as long as UPS doesn't mess it up. But this guy has been waiting a little bit. I think he ordered on Friday of last week. harness is not going to move. That's really what we care about. If it gets a little squished on the way there, like how I just squished into the box, not the end of the world. Nothing can really get damaged. But we want to make sure that it doesn't move around in there. And that is definitely not going to move around. All right, we can finally jump on these amps that we need to work on. I'm actually going to put this away too. All right, so I'm going to be working. All right, well, you're way too close to my face. Like, whoa, wrong way. Okay. All right, so 2006 to 2011 Honda Civic people. Hello, how are you? I don't know why you are the way you are, but I will try my best to help you. If you have the SI or the EXL, you have the premium audio system. Let's say premium audio system, or sometimes you can have navigation and the premium audio system. I need to verify that. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a Honda Civic expert. But back to what I was saying. So if you have the factory premium system, you have the factory subwoofer, means you have a factory amplifier. That factory amplifier likes to kill the subwoofer channel, so you end up with no sub, but your speakers will work. And then your Civic, the way it's tuned from that amp, loves to blow out all the speakers except your tweeters. So you'll just have sound from your tweeters and you think there's something going on with your radio. In reality, you blew your speakers. You just don't know the factory speakers are in there. But now that we got that all out of the way, what I want to talk to you about is the two plug-and-play amplifier options we have that are best for the sedan. You can install them in the coupe, but the coupe has the amplifier in a very weird location that's very hard to get to. The sedan has them in a very easy spot. So I'm going to show you first where the amplifiers are. And then I'll show you the two options that we have and then what your amp looks like, and we'll go from there. So we'll choose a 2009 Honda Civic because it's right in the middle. And let me show you the screen. Oh, hold on, that can't be an SI. SI has to be a 2.0. Okay. So me and screen, let's go amplifier, amplifier audio, component location. That does not help. Remove and replace. So this is on the coupe, and this is why I was saying this is a huge pain in the ass, because the whole center console has to come off for you to get to the amplifier, and it's a lot to take off. I've done this before. I did it to run a couple of wires. So in your coupe, possible, very, very annoying to do so, because you need to pull the factory amp out to fit the new amp. So I don't know if on the coupe you want to go through this. On the sedan, it's very easy. You don't even have to pull the front seat. You could just slide it all the way forward, take off the cover, and remove the amp. Very easy. The actual amplifier looks like this. It's a black little box made by Pioneer. So here's a picture of it in the coupe. Here's what it actually looks like mounted on the bracket. So it's a nice little black amp made by Pioneer. It's the same amp that's in the 04-08 TSX, but it is configured differently. So here's the amp. Here are the two connectors at the amp. It has two blue connectors. So now that you saw the amp, you saw the two choices, I'm going to show you our other website that no one knows about that has the two amps for sale. So there's a 4-channel and a 5-channel. The 5-channel, you can see here, shows it's going to keep all your speakers. The 4-channel shows that the subwoofer will no longer work. That's the big difference. The amps are completely plug and play. Here are the two connectors that you saw. The biggest challenge is going to be mounting the amps. The 4-channel amp is very easy to mount almost anywhere that you want to mount it in the coupe or the sedan, but the 5-channel amp is harder to mount in the coupe. You can mount it in the sedan relatively easy if you just maneuver with the bracket. So I'm going to show you now the 2 amps on my desk real quick. So let me grab a 4-channel and a 5-channel. One sec. So this is a 4-channel. Hold on. So here are the 2 amps, and you can see already from the box there's a huge size difference. The 5-channel amp is roughly yay big. So you see my hands, I have pretty small hands, but it is both of my hands. While the 4-channel amp is a wee bit smaller. I wouldn't necessarily say half the size, but it is more one of my hand than 2 of my hands. I know you might actually want measurements and stuff. Here are the part numbers. This is an NA 320.4. This is an NA 500.5. You can look up all the actual specifications. We sell these amps for Acuras. We've been selling them for Acuras. These amps are tried and true. We know they work. You're going to get good results. I will tell you, for some reason, I don't know what it is with Honda Civic owners. They have a real big thing, this is from my experience, against used returns. If you buy this amp, let me make sure you can see me. If you buy this amp and you install it, which means you're going to cut the zip ties that are the security zip ties, you install it, you plug it in, and you're not happy with the performance, you plugged it in, you bought it, it's yours, you cannot return it as a used product. Performance is what I'm going to cover now, so you have a very good idea of what you're going to get, and you won't be disappointed, and you won't spend money that you don't need to spend if this isn't enough for you. So the amplifier's power ratings are 40 by 4 at 4 ohms, and what I said 40 by 4? Yeah, that's true. And then 80 by 4 at 2 ohms. These amps, I think, on paper are overrated. I want to say at 4 ohms, you probably are getting the full 40 watts or close to it, but I don't think you're getting a full 80 watts at 2 ohms. I would say take 5 or 10% off, so maybe 35 watts, maybe 50 watts, like up and bottom, and then at 2 ohms, maybe 60 watts, maybe 80 watts with some dynamic music. But I would say take that with a grain of salt. These power ratings aren't going to be 100% accurate. The amp has not been dynoed. On the subwoofer configuration, you get 100 watts at 4 ohms, 200 watt at 2 ohms. I want to say that the subwoofer channel is properly rated, and you're going to get right above that. Your factory speakers are 4 ohms, so picture them getting 40 watts, and then your subwoofer is 2 ohms, so picture that subwoofer getting 200 watts. So what that equates to is closely to double the volume. It may really feel significant in some songs. It may not feel so significant in other songs. Your door speakers are really going to come to life with the new amp, but they're not going to be super duper loud. Like twice as loud sounds a lot louder, but in true practicality, it's not always. Like, I don't know how to say that in a better way, but your door speakers, I would say I would give it a thumb up. They're going to get an upgrade. But your sub is a double thumbs up, where it is going to get a significant upgrade. It's not going to rattle your car, though. It's nothing like that. This is more of a balanced upgrade to get you a little bit more volume and a little bit more bass, but it's not going to rattle your car, and it's not going to make people turn their head to see you. That's not the result at all. You only have about 20 amps of power from the factory amplifier to work with. So that's your limitation, is the factory amplifier power lines are so small that you can't do a plug and play amp and do a lot of power. If you feel like the amps aren't good enough, they're not doing enough power for what you want, then you can use our amp bypass product to install your own amp. If you're doing over 125 watts RMS, I would not use the bypass. I would run new wire to the door. Now, for the feedback we've gotten on the amps, we sell a lot for the Acura TL, and people love it. They would rate it 5 stars, maybe 4.5, because there's some people there who leave some reviews that they're not happy with. Sounds subjective, so I understand that. That's still a good rating. The 4-channel amp is sold for the TSX, and people love the amp. I would say that one's like a 4.9 or 4.8. So they're going to work well for your Civic. They are good amps. People do like them. But remember, if you're buying one, be sure that you're okay with a solid, subtle upgrade. It's not something that's going to change your world. And I'm really underselling the amp. It's really going to perform better than that. But I'd rather you make the decision to say, oh, it's not going to be strong enough. I think I'm just going to pass, compared to buying it, using it for a week, and then going, hey, it's not what I thought, and then trying to return it. We're not going to take it back. We don't take back used electronics. So just beware of that. I'm saying that now because the most issues I've run into with returns are with Honda Civic owners. I don't know what it is. It's just the way it goes. But that's going to be the amp. I'm now going to make one for you so you could see the process of what it takes to make one. I'm going to make a 4-channel and a 5-channel, and then we'll go over how to connect it and all that stuff later on in the video. Right now, I'm just going to answer some questions people have been asking. All right, so sorry, guys. I was ignoring the chat for a little bit there. Just switching to something. Okay. Parts ordering is strange lately. Ordered 2, same thing. One came from Ohio, one came from Washington State. Oh, that is strange. I watch this. Your voice is calming, helps me be calm. I'm single for any other man here. Just thought I'd say that. 35, female, 3 kids, but don't need another dad. Look, bro. What? You gotta be careful, lady. My wife watches these streams, and she may not. I don't know. I don't think she'll do anything, but I'm just saying. I just think that's funny. So if any guys want to hit her up, hey bro, I got the harness in and everything works. Thanks. Is wired CarPlay, but I do have an issue when I plug the USB from the radio to my phone. It says there's a warning of liquid in my charger. Do you know the issue by chance? Nah, that's a rare one, man. That's gonna be phone related, definitely. I haven't even seen that error. Is that the OEM charger or is that an aftermarket charger? Sometimes aftermarket chargers will throw in weird errors. I have not seen that. Warning of liquid. My friend, I've been there, man. That sucks. That fucking light is so annoying. The good thing is that light is like in a bunch of Acuras. So you can find it. I think in my video I covered the part number and which cars it works on. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that happened to me too, man. That light's such a pain in the ass. I don't know who designed that or why they designed it that way, because no other Acura is designed that way. Yeah, NRX, everything that I see says that there is liquid in there, or that you got to unplug it and get the liquid out. Yeah. So it's the charger. That thing sucks. Just get it. The best CarPlay experience you'll have is with the OEM cable. Otherwise, even if it does start working, you'll run into an issue where it'll like randomly disconnect, and you're gonna think it's the radio, but really it's the cheap wire. So just get yourself another one. But all right, let me get to work with these amps. I gotta go get the harnesses. So one second. No, I'm gonna use these for it. Excuse me. Sorry, don't let me go. Channel one real quick. So grab that, take that, and then take the harness out of here. Yo, some of them don't want to come out, man, so I don't blame you, man. Some of them just don't want to come out. It's really annoying. A good trick is, though, like the connector and anything, if it doesn't want to come out, you push it in as far as it'll go. Like there's always a little bit of give. You push it in as far as it'll go and then pull it out. And that makes it easier sometimes. All right, one sec, guys. I just got to see something real quick. I need to transfer some money. Oh my god, I just realized I never called Sean back. Bruh. I'm a terrible person sometimes. Okay. Alright, so that's covered. The left hand swap and I won't click in. Oh, damn. You gotta really look at it very carefully. Make sure no little plastic tabs bent out of the way. That's what will stop you from one of those things. And like the vents are, I don't know, man. I feel bad for whoever has to design those things because the way they click in and then they hold tension, and then you're able to adjust them. Like it's such a finicky part, and they need to last. And like people beat the shit out of them. Right now we're just cutting some heat shrink. 4, 5, 6. I need 2 more. 7, 8. Okay, and then I want to check something on my computer real quick. Just 1 second. Let me see where we're at with orders. Okay, that's not terrible. Right now, our oldest order is 5 days. What is it? Oh, okay, never mind. That doesn't count. It's a eBay order. That's not good. Okay. We need to check stock. That was the other thing. I got a bunch of emails just now that a bunch of stock stuff. A bunch of stuff is out of stock. So I need to verify if that's true or not. Something that you may not know is that our website always shows less stock than what we actually have. And that's because I don't have like a complex inventory management system that can keep stock of every single store front that we have. So I always just show less than what's available. And that's why it'll say like available on back order is because we have it. I just don't know the exact quantity that we have. So I can't show directly how many there is. And that's why the store always has like low counts for items. Sometimes that'll change, like there'll be like something that'll show like 50, but most of the time, like if you're looking for something, it'll be like 2 left or 3 left, and on the shelf there might be 10 of them. But this way is how I make sure that I don't sell stuff that I don't have. um, that anything you are buying is actually in stock and on our shelves. I thought about buying, like setting up a complex inventory system, but it's just, it gets even more complicated because the products aren't necessarily just one thing. So like the 4 channel or the 5 channel amp is like a combination of different products that are on the shelf into one. So to keep inventory of all those little pieces, I couldn't figure it out in a simple enough way. So this way works now. Yes. Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you like it. The volume knob goes 50-50. People either hate it or love it. Some people hate it because it's like ugly or in their way or they don't want to use it. Other people love it because they haven't direct control to the volume right away. We're just adding the heat shrink first so I don't forget it. There's been times where I've soldered an entire amp and then not added the heat shrink to the wires and then wanted to curse myself out and then had to cut the wires down and redo all the work I just did. So we're adding the heat shrink first. All right, so we need 3 more pieces of heat shrink. My wife's trolling me. I think she was the one who wrote that. But now she don't want to answer my text. I love you, babe. Why are you trolling? I'm about to go heat up some leftovers. Well, how long have we been streaming for? Okay, we hit an hour. These might be too thin. All right, we'll play it. We'll see. All right, let's take our speakers now. So this is the amp bypass for the Honda Civic and the Acura TSX. The only difference in the amp bypass between the Civic and the TSX is the sub. So this has 2 subs. Your TSX will have 2 sub wires. It has sub right and sub left, and that's because you have 2 6x9s. Hold on, I grabbed the wrong ones. Here we go. You have 2 6x9s in your Acura TSX. So they both. How the hell did I grab the wrong ones again, bro? Come on. All right, here we go. So it says sub L and sub R. You have 2 subs in your TSX. Your 6x9s act as subs. They're labeled here as subs on the bypass. In your Honda Civic, you lose the left one and you keep the right one. It's really 1 sub. It's not 2. So these don't get hooked up to anything, but these will. I just pull them out of the harness in my when I set this up. But other than that, it's identical. It has a separate line for a tweeter, a separate line for the woofer for the front door speakers. But then your rear door speakers have their own line that I guess they don't have tweeters, so it doesn't make sense to explain it that way. But yeah, your tweeters and your woofers are separate. Just give me 1 sec. I need to verify the pin out. Actually, I can just go to our website. We have it. Civic. Bow, 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 bow. So yeah, if you need the pin out for your car, it's right here. If you go to our amp bypass, it's literally the page from the book so that you can just do what you need to do. You don't need to buy anything. So it says pin 5 is empty. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, pin 6 is empty. So my rear right does have something. Rear right, right? Yep, rear right, but this one does not. Okay, so that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pin 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, guys, just I don't know what it is. I gotta double count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that one's out. Oh, maybe she went to sleep. I hope she went to sleep. She needs to get some rest. Come on, don't be a pain. There we go. All right, cool. So now I got both of those out, and now we can start prepping this to hook it up to the speaker wires. So let's switch back to the desk and switch it back to there so you can see what I'm doing. I know there's a lot of wires here, but one step at a time. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to twist. Hold on, let me just zoom this camera in. It's too zoomed out. Okay. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do first is connect my tweeter and my woofer lines together. So this right here says front right tweeter. And then this says front right tweeter positive. This says front right positive. So this is the door woofer and this is the tweeter. The amp's going to power both of them from the same channel. So we're going to twist these together to make one channel for the amp. We got to do that with all of our grays and all of our whites. So now we're going to do it for our negatives, front right negative and front right tweeter negative. They're going to go together too. And then we're doing the whites. And then in our TSX, we would combine our greens and our purples. But in our case, because this is for a Honda Civic, we will not be doing that. Instead, those are going to go color for color. So let me get those ready. Bring this down. This down. And bring this one down. Okay. Now I just need a wire from here. Okay. And then I need to add All right, let's get some YouTube going. I mean, some music going. What are you saying, guy? Because we need it right now. Damn, it's a classic right here. I'm just trying to see what you would hear. Okay, that's too loud for you. One sec. Okay, that should be low enough where if I'm talking, you'll hear my voice over it. But all right, let's get back to wiring here. It's still too loud. Okay, cool. That you can barely hear. I can hear it decently enough. Yeah, let me get to wire twisting now. So now this single set right here, I know we were talking about doing a 4-channel amp, but we're going to do the 5-channel amp instead. So that means all that changes is that the sub wire gets hooked up. In the 4-channel, the sub wire won't get hooked up. Everything else hooks up the same. So we're going to do purple sub R negative to gray black. This is on this separate harness, so don't let this confuse you. There's a completely separate harness in that one. Because on that one, purple is going to go to purple. But one step at a time. Okay, so now we connected that. We're going to strip these. The reason why I'm stripping these is just to make it easier to twist together. When you have more longer strands, it makes twisting together easier than the shorter strands. Come on. All right, cool. So now here we're going to color match, but what's tricky here is that on this side, you only have one white wire, only one black wire. But on this side, they're twisted together. So you have 2 white wires twisted to be 1 wire, and they connect to 1 wire like that. So a lot of people will get confused here, but nothing to be confused about. It's 2 wires to 1. I know it seems unnatural, seems weird, but that's just how this goes. What Civic? This is 2000 and the guy has a 2009, but this amp will work from 2006 to 2011. 2012, we could possibly make one, but we've never had anyone request one. These Civic or Honda products are because people have reached out to request it. They're like, hey, like I see you make an amp for the Accord. I see you make an amp for the TSX. Any chance you make one for the Accord? And then from the Accord to the Civic. Okay, so same thing with the grays. It's 2 grays. So gray, black to 1 gray, black, gray to 1 gray. Now, all of our other connections are going to be 1 wire to 1 wire. So that little difference will seem like something is wrong, but nothing's wrong. That's just the way the connections are made. And this is because channel 1, which is the white, is going to feed both the woofer and the tweeter in your Civic. And then channel 2, which is gray, is going to do the same thing. Feed the woofer and the tweeter. There won't be anything for a 2018. You're running into CAN bus controlled amplifiers, so we don't have a plug-and-play amp. We're working on a solution, but the thing is they're just really expensive. We can't find something that is like within the price range of the other stuff. So like when I say really expensive, think like $1,000 or more. I know for some people that may be like, oh, it's nothing, but that is a pretty big investment. Also on the company side, like us buying those amps and stocking those amps, that's in a lot of investment in capital. Because each one of those amps, I think our costs, like they retail for $1,000, but our cost is like $850. So imagine having $850 or like $4,000 of just those amps in on the shelf. So, but those that's why you'll see like all of our products kind of stop around 2016. And that's because that's like the year that Acura started doing everything with CAN bus control. You can still get a base Civic though, and a base Civic won't have an amp, so you can do whatever you want. But the ones that aren't base, the ones that have factory amps, they'll be CAN bus controlled. I'll get you the exact year that started happening. Let me just solder this. Oh, I was a little too far away from my... It's such a classic album. When I was younger, it used to be harder to listen to an entire album. I don't know why, but now like you listen back, I can listen back to albums. I'm like, yo, like I can't believe I missed these songs on that album. But all right, Jay Z, here's what I'm gonna show you real quick, right? So we're gonna go to Pro Demand. We're gonna log in, and then we're gonna load up a 2018 Honda Civic 2.0, so we can go with. I'm gonna say a Type R is gonna have an amplifier, but we'll see. Then we'll go amplifier, amplifier audio. We'll look at the connector, and these are all the outputs. This is pretty standard stuff. This is the problem right here. This connector has RS485. Why can I not highlight that? This is text. I can't highlight any of it. Hold on. Something weird's going on. I don't know why it's doing this. I can't highlight any text. Okay, but anyways, back to what I was saying. That RS485 connection means that when you try to replace this amplifier, you're not going to be able to control it from the factory radio anymore. And because of that, you won't be. Yeah. Yeah, the only other solution is to go high level out of it and then intercept the signal. So 2018 Honda Civic amplifier. Not about you anymore. So we have this. We have these two connectors, so we can make you like a harness that you could do a high-low installation with, and you can sum stuff together with either DSP or a high-low. But that would be the way you have to do it because you can't do it where you replace the amp. If you bypass the amp, you'll lose the factory volume control. So then you'll need another volume control another amplifier that has an external volume control, and then you get to really expensive DSP amps. So like it gets real complex fast. So cheapest way is you just take the connectors at the amp, you use our T harness, you cut our T harness for the speakers you want to amplify, and do it like an old school DSP high-low way. I don't know if there is an amp interface. 2018 Honda Civic amplifier interface. Yeah, it's just to keep the factory amp. But I don't think there's anything that. Let's see if there's an Amp Pro. I doubt it. Amp Pro is really good, but they're only for American vehicles. FD, GM, CH, TY, Toyota, GM, TY, Toyota, Toyota, GM, Toyota, Chrysler, Toyota, GM, Ford, Chrysler, Ford, Ford, Chrysler again. Yeah, no, there's no Amp Pro for any Hondas or Acuras. There's a lot for Lex, Toyota, and stuff. But yeah, man, that's going to be your only way, unfortunately. Sorry. I had something else come up. Oh, okay, that's what it was. Care about you anymore. You could always do the old school single din in the glove box. That never fails. Plenty of people still do it. I don't know why. I always saw that a lot in BMWs. It'd be like a nice BMW. They leave the factory system alone, but they'll put a single din in the glove box and then run like a Chuchero or something crazy. So that's always the option. Your other option is aftermarket radio. That'll simplify everything. So you just install an aftermarket radio. You can run your amps any way you want. Right, YouTube. I'm gonna finish this amp, and then I'm gonna hop off stream, uh, and then I'm gonna have some food, and then I'm gonna keep working. But I won't come back to streaming. I'll see you guys tomorrow. But I'm gonna finish this amp first. I gotta connect a few more wires. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I'm old, but just old music is just different. I bet you I know what song can get you to start singing in your head right now. I bet you a burrito from Chipotle. That sounds good. I'm gonna have that for lunch tomorrow. Nice chicken steak burrito. Mmm. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Try not to sing. I bet you can't. Let me start over though. If you're like, I don't know this song. All right, all right. Don't worry. I got a nice one. I got the next one. For what you won't be able to not sing. No way you don't sing to this song. All right, that one didn't get you. This one will. That one didn't get you. This one will. And if this one doesn't get you, you just don't know good music. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. These are classics. Hey yo, bro, my sister 2001 ES300 has a factory amp. I put an aftermarket stereo having interference when she hits the gas. Could it be ground? Um, I have no idea, my friend. Honestly, no idea. Like general installation, like just as an installer, not an actor guy, just as an installer, factory amp. When she hits the gas, she's getting feedback. Alternator wine comes from bad grounds, so it could be bad ground for the new radio you installed, or it could be bad ground at the amplifier. It could be that the voltage is too high for the amplifier, so it's amplifying extra noises that it wasn't before. I don't really know. There might be like a reference ground that needs to be connected. I'll see if I can pull up a diagram for you and see if it's just a simple amp turn on. 2001 ES. Hopefully we have a diagram. Choose it all. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. 2001, yes, 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 Lexus. That's a Lexus, right? Yes? Yeah, because I know Mercedes has something similar as well. And yes, yeah. Can go. There's only one thing you should know. God damn. Uh, there's not a lot of info here, my friend. What are these TXM lines? Okay, there's nothing on there. FLFR, woofer, rear right, beep, sound ground, FLFR, M positive, mute ground TX, serve component, amplifier. I'm gonna show you my screen. I'm not fully understanding this. I just look at it a little bit longer to really know, but your boy is tired. But so when you install an aftermarket radio, this is the radio receiver, right? So it's sending, what is this, amp plus? So that turns on the amp. That's mute. ACC, what the hell is SLD? See this S ground? This is what I think is messing you up. What is this? Because it runs between the radio and the amp. So this is the radio, this is the amp. So I see regular ground, like this is the amplifier's ground. Then we have our inputs, and then we have our outputs to the speakers, which are shown. The speakers are down here. So they're going up this way, they're coming right here. These are my outputs to my speakers. But yeah, I think this S ground right here is messing you up. But it doesn't give me, oh crap, sorry. It doesn't give me enough information of what it is. Like none of these have connector views. Yeah, no connector view. The car's too old. No connector view. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I wish I had more info for you. But there might be that reference ground S12. You're just gonna have to dig in some forum. Some guy has a solution somewhere. But I don't know enough about that platform in that car to say like it's definitely this or that. It's not over. All right, guys. So now we're gonna add our zip ties. Damn, a Chipotle burrito right now don't sound bad, bro. They should have a 24/7 Chipotle. Or when we used to have 24/7 Walmarts. Oh, sorry, this isn't on camera. I am zip tying the harness. Yeah, my wife fell asleep. She wasn't trolling. It's all of this. These zip ties are just to keep the wires together so they don't get bunched up when you're installing them. It's also for presentation so that it looks good. It doesn't look like a bunch of messy wires when you get it. All right, so here's something that's super important. Excuse me. Super important about this amp. Um, the factory radio of your Civic is only going to put out 4 channels of audio: front left, front right, rear left. Those 4 channels of audio, as you can see, are only 4, and I didn't say sub. So your 5-channel amp is expecting front left, front right, rear right, and sub. Since there is no sub, you can change the switch on the amp so that it generates the sub from the summed input of all 4: front left, front right, rear left. So that works very well. That means you have to run your volume knob or your bass knob that comes with your amp so you can control the bass on the fly. That's pretty elegant, easy solution. But when you install an aftermarket radio and you run the amp, now your front left, front right, rear left might have either a high pass filter or some sort of EQ added that will also affect the sub. And that's when it can get tricky. So what you want to do is, if you're going to install an aftermarket radio, is you will have to run one set of RCAs from the subwoofer output of the aftermarket radio to the amp for the best control of the sub. If you're okay with leaving all your high pass filters off on your front and rear speakers, then you can just continue to use it how you would with your factory radio and just use the knob to control the bass. But your aftermarket radio is going to have good controls for your subwoofer, so I recommend running that RCA and switching the amp from 4-channel mode back to 5-channel mode for the best results with an aftermarket radio. It is a little annoying to have to run that one RCA, but a little 8-footer you just hide underneath the center console to underneath the seat. It's a pretty quick install, and it'll give you better performance for the sub. But all right, our harness is all ready. This is what it looks like when it's done. But as you know, when I showed you, there are 2 connectors for the amp. So those 2 connectors are that one and this one. And this is what I was saying, that this only has 4 outputs. That's, as you can see, there's only 4 RCAs. Something that I have not shown on stream, well, I haven't made a video of yet. Sorry, wrong thing. Haven't made a video of it yet, but it's important. We actually changed the design of the RCAs. You can see they have a 90-degree bend now, so that when you install this in a TSX, when you're limited on space, these don't rub up against anything. They sit nice and flush against the amp, and it won't cause any issues in the future. This is a revision because people have reported that in the TSX, it sits very close, the RCAs, to the edge of the dash, and it can introduce some noise. So we revamped these, and that hopefully takes care of the issues. We haven't heard anyone report back any issues with this harness, but I don't think it's been long enough to know for sure. But on your Civic, you're just going to get this because it's the newest version. It won't even apply to you. That issue won't ever happen to you. There's enough space there where it won't affect anything. What'd you say, JZ? I bought RCA ground loop and a filter, so I think she didn't ground it though because it still makes noise. Yeah, I don't think it's that. It's that that reference ground. What was it called? S ground. Hold on. Command Shift T. Shift T, Command Shift T, Command Shift T. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna show you my screen again. So I think it's this S ground thing. I think this is a reference ground. S ground. I think that's what's. I think you need to make sure you run that from your factory radio to your aftermarket radio. 2001 Lexus ES 300. What is the thing called? GS ground, S ground, radio, S ground. All right. Someone said that they use PAC SNI ground loop isolator. So I think you're right that they shouldn't ground the brown wire. That's why they're having the issue. Uh, okay. All right. This guy I thought had the solution. He doesn't. I just need a pin out that's like correct, and then we can learn more. Yeah, there's a signal ground. That's what I thought. So you see this right here, 13 on the back of the radio, ground that. There's no pin, add a pin. You probably only have these two connectors though. Output, output, constant power, amp. This turns the amp on. You need this connector. What is that? 14 pin connector. And then you need to take ground signal and connect it to ground. 2001. Yeah, it doesn't come with it. I don't even know where you find that connector. Or what is it's 14 pins? What does it actually look like? You might be able to just cut the wire harness and stick it in there. Is that the connector? Hold on. Because that looks a little different from what we have. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it looks a little different from what we have. Or is that the radio too? Oh, is it upside down? Hold on. Okay, yeah, so the top connector is it. Sorry, man, I'm not familiar with Lexus enough to know. So it's on the top row. So 1, 2. Yeah, it's a little different. But I think it's this middle connector here. But yeah, my guess is take the harness that used to plug into this connector right here. It's a 14 pin connector, and jump this ground signal with this ground and see if that helps with the amp. Because what did Pro Demand say? Nakamichi only. Yeah, this doesn't have it. That's signal ground though. Or you know what? At the amp, you could just ground this wire. You could do that too. And that should work both ways. That's so dumb that they threw that in there. But I guess to reduce noise. And you need a common ground to do that. But all right, I'm gonna start yapping, guys. You guys have a good night. I will gonna go get some snack or something, man. I'm hungry, and then I will get back to work. But I'm sorry I didn't get to show you the end of the amps. I started yapping away and I didn't finish my work. But this is the harness. I will film the other part and then I'll just post it for people to see. I'll make one conjunction video. But you guys have a good night. I will see y'all tomorrow for the lunch stream around 1. Sorry, my